Good Thursday afternoon to you, 4 o'clock time for Sports4CLE. Thanks for joining us. Plenty of Browns to talk about, getting ready to head down to Atlanta, face the Falcons, trying to go to 3-1 on the season. Myles Garrett still not ruled out, back in Berea with the team, not practicing. We also get this word from Mary Kay Cabot, tweets out, Ohio State Highway Patrol has issued a citation for failure to control his vehicle to Myles Garrett. Unsafe speed for the roadway appeared to be a contributing factor to that one-car accident where he has a strained shoulder, strained bicep, and assorted bumps and bruises. Also from Scott Petrak, Myles Garrett not practicing today. Neither is Jadeveon Clowney, David Njoku, Taven Bryant, Jack Conklin, Joe Haeg. Garrett and Clowney, the most concerning of those. But good news, returning to practice, Denzel Ward. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, that was the one that was very concerning. Amari Cooper also, who rested yesterday. Let's welcome in Quincy Carrier. So Quincy, still not sure if the Browns are going to have Jadeveon Clowney and or Myles Garrett against the Falcons. That's a concern.
Oh, the trifecta, right? J.O.K., Jadeveon Clowney, and Myles Garrett. We're talking about the three best players in the front seven. Like, undoubtedly the three best players in the front seven versus a team that's going to run heavy pistol action, heavy read option, heavy stuff that's going to lean on that front seven. So that's going to be something that, hey, if you don't have those guys, it's still possible to win this game, but you're going to have to take advantage of those turnover opportunities that Marcus Mariota is going to give you.
Yeah, and again, the good news is JOK practice. That's the good news. But again, Cordell Patterson was the NFC Player of the Week a week ago running the football, and he's just behind Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley in terms of yards gained this year. So it'll be a tough test returning. I know you've answered this. Where do the Browns stand after 3 weeks? When you look at the Browns after 3 weeks, what do you see?
I see a team that has gotten to where they have, and it would be a lot more encouraging if the defense were playing well, because nobody expected the offense to be this good. If the defense were playing at the level of expectation, we would feel really, really good about this team, because we would be 3-0, but also we would have both sides of the ball playing well. With the defense not playing well, but the offense playing well, I'm in this camp of, I think eventually the defense gets it right. They've gotten it right at the end of the last 3 years. I don't expect that trend to stop. And if this offense is going to look like this with Brissett, and we know that Deshaun Watson's going to play in December, hopefully, if he gets through everything, then the potential for this team is insane. But you're still worried about their ability to get through this stretch here where they need to get at least 5 wins to 6, you would hope 7. You're still worried about that stretch here because the defense hasn't stepped up yet. If we can get a solid game out the defense in the next few weeks, or for the next few weeks, then we're going to feel really good about this team. But right now, you feel you feel pretty good, but you could feel great. And great's on the table. Great's on the menu. You can get it. It's just whether they're going to get it or not.
Yeah, and, to your point, when you look, and you can't look past the Falcons, Chargers have Herbert dealing with rib cartilage, Bosa out, Rashawn Slater, their left tackle, out. Patriots likely going to be without Mac Jones, haven't been playing real well. So those next couple of games that you were looking at going, man, this could be tough earlier in the year, they're not easy, but they're not as tough as they looked at the beginning of the year.
We always say this, right? We always say this. The schedule game means nothing once the season starts, because what did everybody say when they got the schedule? And they've been doing this for like 10 years. Like, every time the schedule, oh man, I don't know how we're going to be. This is an impossible game. Wait till you get to the game week and then see who's playing or not, and then make that determination, because not only do guys get hurt in the NFL all the time, but also teams are better and worse at different times of the year, right? The Ravens have had these stretches of 6 weeks where they're a terrible football team, and then stretches of 8 weeks where they're great. The Browns have done this before too, right? teams get hot and cold at different periods. You catch teams at good times. You don't catch teams at bad times. And at the end of the day, it's the NFL. The talent difference is not that big, especially when we're talking about a team as talented as the Cleveland Browns. It is not obscene to think that the Browns could beat anybody going up that they go up against, because they're a very, very talented team that can control the ball. And if one or two things bounce your way in the NFL, you can win that game. I mean, did anybody have the Jaguars blowing out the Chargers on their bingo card last week? No, but 2-3 things went right their way, and then they just ran with it, right? This is the NFL. Everybody can get beat. This is not college football where, it takes a lot for Alabama to lose to Middle Tennessee or Ohio State to lose to Youngstown State. It takes a lot for that to happen. In the NFL, it don't take much to lose to the Jets. We just found that out the hard way.
Agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, we're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about this game coming up on Sunday.
Hi, Dad from Youngstown. First of all, I want to wish Myles Garrett and the young lady, the passenger that was in the car with him during the accident, wishing them well, man. That's a traumatic experience. A lot of people don't understand that. And I just wish them the best. Second of all, I want to talk about the Browns. Joe Woods, he got his work cut out for him this week, because no matter who you play, you think you're playing a weaker team. It's still the NFL. Any given Sunday, you can be beat. So being that we're short-handed on defense, Joe, you got your work cut out for you, man. Impress us. Make us feel good this week, man. That's all. Your thoughts. I love the show. Thanks for taking my call.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. I agree with everything Thad said. There is nothing there that I disagree with.
Yeah, and especially, this is the Browns' biggest test defensively. This is the best offense they've played so far. The Atlanta Falcons are like top 5 with the Browns when it comes to points scored. The over-under for this game is like at 60 or something insane like that. This is an offense that can put up points. They're very talented. Drake London is very good. I don't know how many of you guys still think of Cordero Patterson as a wide receiver and a kick returner. He's a really good running back now. This is a good team that you're playing against, and they have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. I would not underestimate the Falcons at all. They are more capable than their record would suggest.
Would agree with you wholeheartedly. All right, Joe Woods talked about possibly playing the Falcons shorthanded with some young guys needing to step up. Here's Joe Woods on what the defense looks like.
Yeah, I really believe, and I know I've said this before, but it's not that guys have to step up and do anything special. It's just go out and do your job, So if we had all our guys available, I wouldn't say, hey, don't worry about it. You can take it easy. So I haven't really talked to them more about the situation we're in. It's just whoever's up, who's ever healthy, let's just go play the best football we can to give our team a chance to win.
How has Alex Wright developed from when you first saw him at rookie minicamp until now? Because he might start there for Myles.
Yeah, Alex is definitely getting better every week. He's learning what life's like in the NFL. The players he has to go against every week. But you can see him from a technical standpoint, from a confidence standpoint, improving in terms of playing the run, improving in the pass rush. We move him around a little bit outside, inside, but he's definitely getting better every week.
All right, Joe Woods talking about Alex Wright in the defense. So, Quincy, let me put this to you. If Clowney and Garrett can't go, and we don't know yet, does that alter what you do if you're Joe Woods? Does that alter the style of defense?
I think more than it alters what Joe Woods would do, it alters how the Falcons will attack you. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because I think the most important person out of it, and this is going to sound shocking, not that like he's a better player than Myles Garrett, but it's Jadeveon Clowney this week, because his ability to be good on those read options and to be stout on that edge when it comes to run defense is going to do a lot to funnel those turnover-worthy opportunities for the secondary to happen, right? Because he's able to stop that stuff. Myles Garrett by himself, he's not really great at stopping that stuff. But Jadeveon Clowney, he's really good at maintaining his edge, making sure you can't beat them outside. And even if I don't commit to the quarterback, I can get to the quarterback. That's not something that Miles does well yet. So I think the most important person to come back is Jadeveon. If he's not able to be out there, we're going to see a ton of that read option, and it's going to work. We're going to see a ton of those moving pockets that they did, and it's going to work. We're going to see a ton of Drake London, and it's going to work. Like, I would prepare Browns fans for that. If you don't have those three guys out there, what the Falcons want to do, they will be able to do. And there's not much schematically you can do for that because, again, you're out your three best players in your front seven. You're just going to not be good on defense when that happens, right? Unless the defensive secondary can step up and get some turnovers, that's your best hope. And I think that would be the game plan, is take advantage of the turnover opportunities that they give you, limit their possessions. They can't score if they don't have the ball. That's probably going to be the game plan regardless, but that's going to be especially emphasized if they don't have those guys out there.
Quincy Carrier and I are going to step aside, take a quick time out. Other side of the break, we'll hear from Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, what he's seen on the tape about the Browns. Sports4CLE will be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
Browns trying to go to 3-1 against the Atlanta Falcons down in Atlanta. Arthur Smith, head coach for the Falcons, on what he has seen with the Browns on tape.
It's a good football team. I got a lot of respect for their staff and especially the way they play up front. You know, it's a really good offensive line. They're just going across the board. And then they do a really good job. They lead the league in time of possession. They're number one rushing team in the league. Gone against Brissett a few times. Saw him in Indy. We saw him last year down in Miami. We practiced with him. Really good player, other than the fact that he went to NC State. But he is a really good player. He's hard to bring down. He's got a big arm. Smart. They do a really good job. They're going to throw a lot of things at you, shifts, motions, and they're going to try to grind you down. And we got to be ready to go, especially in the run defense. You got to tackle well. You know, the arm tackles are not going to bring the job down. Like I said, we got to be able to grind this game, and it's going to be a heavyweight fight.
And Quincy, you mentioned how good the Falcons' offense has been. Their defense has struggled, especially their pass defense. Pass defense is one of the bottom 5, bottom 6 in the league. So their defense has struggled. It's lining up to be a high-scoring game.
Don't that sound familiar? Like these two teams are the same pretty much, except for the difference has been Jacoby Brissett, right? Like this has been the difference. Marcus Mariota, he's given them the same amount of big-time throws as Jacoby Brissett has. Jacoby Brissett has been much better at limiting the turnover-worthy plays, right? If you look at every game that the Falcons play, there's a big Marcus Mariota fumble, interception, questionable throw somewhere in that game at a critical moment. And that's been the difference. That's why they're 1-2 and the Browns are 2-1. They're basically the same team. Surprising offense, able to run the ball really well, able to win on the ground, outside zone. And then when you look at it on defense, a secondary that's underperforming despite having pretty good players. I mean, they have Casey Hayward, who's not Casey Hayward anymore, but he's still a decent player, and A.J. Terrell, who is a shutdown corner. So these are pretty similar situations. The difference between these two teams has truly been the Browns have not had to deal with as many mistakes from the quarterback position as the Falcons have. And this probably, if we go back to when they signed Jacoby Brissett, that's probably a shock to a lot of people, right? Because a lot of people wanted Marcus Mariota if we weren't going to have certain situations here. But that's what the difference has been between these two teams who are playing incredibly similar football. I mean, they even gave up a lead in the first week of the season, like the Browns did in the second week. They're basically the same team with the same weaknesses and similar offensive philosophy because they're both running the same kind of offensive style. And when Deshaun's in there, we're going to see that same pistol set that they're going to be running this week.
All right, so this is talking about the Browns' number one rush attack in the NFL. So first in the league in team rushing, 572 yards, runs of 20-plus yards, 6, and rushing first downs, 33. And again, when you are able to do that running the football, you kind of are imposing your will on the defense. It's deflating. It wears down a defense, not only physically, but mentally.
Yeah, even when it's Nick Chubb, it's even worse, right? Because you do everything you're supposed to do, and he just runs through it. Like, that just happens sometimes with Nick Chubb. And that's why I think it's especially demoralizing. It's one thing if you know you're getting beat and the reason why you're getting beat, oh, yeah, this guy blew leverage. Okay, we're going to have to make this adjustment, or they're running through this gap and we're not there. That's one thing. When it's, hey, we played this well, and he just ran through it. What do you do? That's like fighting the Incredible Hulk. Like, you just don't feel like any of your punches are landing, and you feel like this is a pointless battle that you're engaging in. And when you feel like you're that overmatched, that's where it becomes really hard, really, really hard to try hard at that point, right? Like, we've all been in that situation where we're like, this is a pointless battle. I might as well quit. That's what Nick Chubb can do to you, is because what he's been this year, he's always been really, really, really good. He's been incredible this year. Like, this is like Adrian Peterson 2012 stuff we're seeing, where like a whole line collapses in front of him and he just hops over it and gets 20 yards. Or I think his most impressive runs on Thursday Night Football weren't the ones that we're going to show a lot of because they weren't big yardage plays, but they were the plays where he was dead to right, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, somehow got 2 yards out of those plays, right? That's what demoralizes the defense, when you have those opportunities for big plays and you can't do it. Not because you weren't in position, not because your technique wasn't good, just because the other dude is better at it than you are, right? At a level that you can't do nothing about. And when that happens in the NFL, it's a hard thing to stay motivated against. And that's what really wears them down. Like, yeah, Nick Chubb's hard to tackle. Kareem Hunt's really hard to tackle. But it's a whole other thing when you doing what you're supposed to do. They coached you. This is what we did in practice. This is supposed to work. And Nick Chubb just go, wow, and you can't do nothing about it. Like, at that point, you start to wonder, what am I even doing out there, right? And when he's playing that well, that's what happens.
So the other thing that happens is it opens up the passing game. So Amari Cooper was asked just about the running game of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, what it means to him and the guys outside.
They make my job easier. They make it a lot easier. I mean, in many ways, those guys move the chains so much that it just gives us out wide more opportunities to make plays, like when our name is called, because, I mean, we're out there for more plays. And then obviously the defense, after a while, even if they don't come into the game, like honed in on the run game, eventually those with how hard those guys run, the defense has to change at some point and make stopping the run a focal point, and just opens up things outside for us.
And again, a wide receiver that isn't complaining when you run the football. That's kind of refreshing.
Well, I was listening to a Amari Cooper interview, and it was real interesting. One of the things we all assumed was, oh, man, Amari Cooper, it's only him, right? Like, it's only him. He has to be frustrated. He's the only wide receiver here. And listening to this interview with Amari Cooper, I think he looked at that situation very much differently than everybody assumed. I think Amari Cooper looked around and said, yo, it's only me. So when they do throw the ball, I'm getting it. That's all right with me, dog. If they want to have 8 in the box and put man coverage, right, I can beat man. I'm Amari Cooper. I'm a beat man. So I think Amari looked at this situation a lot differently than a lot of people nationally assume, because there wasn't the wide receiver situation didn't have a lot of like great names around it. But I think Amari was like, I think this is the opportunity for me to get the numbers that I feel like I've always been able to achieve with in a system that's going to prioritize me. And, you know, they got to throw the ball 50% of the time, right, to stay balanced. And you have to assume if it's Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, and no disrespect to those other players, but like Amari Cooper probably going to get, what, 30, 40% of those targets? He's feeling pretty good about this offense. If he got to block 20% of the time, he's all right with that because he knows he's getting 30% of the targets. Amari Cooper, and from everything I gather about him, he is a real businessman when he goes about this football stuff. And I think he took apart all of the numbers that he felt like he'd get. He was like, okay, yeah, this works. This works really well for me.
All right, another thing that's been really impressive, Jacoby Brissett keeping the ball. The quarterback keepers work with Jacoby Brissett. He has a feel for it. He has an understanding for it. Remember, he played for Tom Brady, who's really good at it. Let's take a look at a couple of these. And when we look at what he does, he just has a sense of where to be. And it's repeated in this.
Yeah, and he's real. Like, the thing with Jacoby Brissett that he has that other bigger quarterbacks like Jameis Winston or that aren't good at this don't have, he has really, really quick feet for a guy his size. He's not fast, but, like, look at his feet. Look how light he is on his feet, and look how, like, purposeful he is with his feet. And that really is why he's so good at this, right? He's able to slide smoothly there. And then when you're that dominant on those QB sneaks, these things open up because they're scared to death of what you can do on these opportunities, because it's like, we can QB sneak it. Nick Chubb could get the ball. We can motion Kareem Hunt back into the backfield and then do a fullback dive like they did early in the game. Or we can do this, right? There are so many options on 3rd and 1 for this Browns team that did not exist last year, that really have defensive coordinators kind of like in a bind when it comes to 3rd and 1. I mean, that's Mike Tomlin. That was just flat out coached and outmaneuvered right there, because what's he going to do? Like, he knows the 3rd and 1 can be got with the QB sneak. I have to do something about that. But then Nick Chubb's also there, right? Do I just not worry about Nick Chubb and just say, hey, maybe who do you not worry about in that situation on 3rd and 1? And his dominance on those QB sneaks is part of the reason why they can have so much flexibility, because now you have to worry about the quarterback running. And this is a preview for what's going to be in December, right? When you have to worry about the quarterback being a mobile threat, all of a sudden that changes everything for the defense. And we're starting to see it with these QB sneaks. Come December, when Deshaun gets in there, who's a more mobile threat on more downs, then you see where this is going, right?
Yeah, the thing that impressed me, though, is the trust that Kevin Stefanski already has in Amari Cooper to take that shot on a 3rd and 1, to go down. I just think that speaks to the quarterback head coach trust and relationship that's already developed.
Yeah, he trusts Brissett to just do what's supposed to be done. If he delivers it on the plate, Jacoby's going to eat it. With the last quarterback, at times, there was friction there, right? Like, sometimes he wanted to go left when Kevin wanted him to go right. That trust right there, that's what's important in this system, right? You have to trust that everybody is working towards your best interest. It's no mistake that last year, when all the reports came out that Baker's camp felt like the offensive coordinators and Kevin Stefanski were hanging them out to dry and were trying to make them look bad. Why this offense didn't look good is because if you think this offense is not trying to do what's best for you, you're going to miss a lot of things. But if you trust it, like he did in 2020, like Jacoby Brissett is doing right now, things are there for you to take advantage of. And that's the most important thing. When you show trust in that offense, and Jacoby has showed the trust in that offense, Kevin can now trust you to not mess up because he trusts that you trust what he's trusting. A lot of trust going on here, and that's good for an offense. Offenses are run off of trust. That's my word of the day, trust.
Quincy Carrier and I are going to step aside, take a quick time out. Other side of the break, we'll take a look at some defensive stuff going on with the Browns. Getting ready for the Falcons. Sports4CLE. I'll be right back. Stay with us. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
We continue talking Browns. We want your predictions for the Browns-Falcon game. Call the voicemail of Truth and Reasons and let us know who you think's going to win, what you think the score will be, and some key stats. Do that. We'll play some of them tomorrow on Sports4CLE. All right, let's take a look at this. Double team rate versus pass rush win rate. So the double team rate is on the x-axis, and the y-axis has the pass rush win rate. Myles Garrett, the double team rate, he's double-teamed more than anybody. Now, Quincy, I got to be honest, when Brian showed me this, I didn't even see Von Miller up top. I thought that was one of the labels. He has the pass rush win rate. He's so far off the chart. He's up, that little speck near the top is Von Miller. But look at how often Myles Garrett is double-teamed and still wins.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why around the league he's one of the most respected players when it comes to his position in football, and why a lot of people say he's the best defensive player in football, because he eats a lot of those double teams. He's asked to do more that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. And he's in a 4-3 to where, you know, he's going to be seeing a lot of doubles because they like to be in nickel a lot, right? The Browns like to put a lot of DBs out there to try to cover the field that way and get coverage sacks. That's how they like to do things. So he's kind of relying on those guys to get the sack numbers. When it comes to winning on the line of scrimmage, there's nobody better in football.
Yep, without question. All right. Something that's been underappreciated because the Browns secondary has struggled a little bit. Let's look at John Johnson III, and this is from Pro Football Focus. He has more forced incompletions, 2, than receptions allowed, 1. Passer rating against is under 40. The passer rating, if you throw the ball into the dirt every play, is the same as what the passer rating against John Johnson III is. So John Johnson III playing pretty well, grading out very well.
He's playing well, and especially like an individual coverage situation. Again, the big issue with this team isn't the individual talent or the individual efforts. It's them being able to work as a collective unit. But that's why I have faith that they'll be better later on in the year, because individually they're playing well. I mean, Denzel Ward at times has played really well. Greg Newsome has been good all year. Martin Emerson has been good all year. You know, Grant Delpit, all these guys individually have been fine. It's just when it comes for them to play as a complete unit, they sometimes struggle to communicate. That stuff's going to be figured out sooner than later, and they'll be back to being a really good unit.
Yeah, and let's hope that happens. You're absolutely right. I mean, you look at the parts, and there shouldn't be the breakdowns that there are. All right, this is from NFL.com. One question mark for each division leader heading into Week 4, and it's not a big surprise for the Browns. Will the defense turn it around? Through 3 games, Cleveland has given up 24 points to Baker Mayfield's Panthers, 31 to Joe Flacco's Jets, yikes, and 17 to Mitchell Trubisky's Steelers. So to your point, the better quarterbacks are coming. The defense has to get on the same page because it's going to get tougher.
Yeah, it's wake up time. They were able to afford to be asleep for the last 3 weeks. Now it's wake up time. Okay, no more Mitchell Trubisky. Well, they got one more. Well, I don't know if Mitchell Trubisky will be there by the time we get there, right? They got no more Baker Mayfield games where they're extremely familiar with the quarterback. They got no more Joe Flacco games, even though they blew that one. Now it's time to wake up. Okay, because if you're walking sleep when you go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the Atlanta Falcons, you're not going to win. If you walk in sleep versus a Bill Belichick team, look, they're not a good offense in New England, but they put 45 on acid on you being that same bad offense from last year, right? They will get you if you come in sleepwalking. The Chargers will get you. You will be got if you don't wake up. So this is the time for the defense to wake up, start playing at the level that we all expected them to, because the time where we can expect the offense to carry them to victory, I think that's starting to come to an end. We're going to need defensive contributions, significant ones, if the Browns want to get to the win total that they desire to get to in these first 11 games.
Agree with you wholeheartedly again. All right. Greg Newsome on the challenges that the Falcons offense presents, especially those big wide receivers we've talked a little bit about.
They just run a bunch of different personnels. Their receivers, their threats are really big, so that's something we also have to account for. And then also they have a running quarterback as well, so you have to account for that part of the offense as well. And it's just going to be something you have to be able to challenge at the catch point. Luckily, we go against big receivers in like Chase Claypool and George Pickens, so we've been able to see some of those bigger receivers, but you just have to be physical with them. They're big receivers, but you have to be able to challenge at the catch point.
Communication you feel like get better against Pittsburgh from what it was a couple days earlier?
We're just talking to each other, communicating. Like I said, I don't think it's at 100%, but we are able to limit some of those big mistakes that we've had, and we're just going to try to continue to get better each week.
And again, it's going to be important, especially with what's around the corner for this defense.
Yeah. It's time for them again. It's time for them to wake up. It's time for Denzel Ward. I like to say it's a great day for Denzel Ward to have one of those games where he reminds us he's really good, because we have this every year where we're like, oh, what's going on with Denzel Ward? And then he plays really well, and we're like, oh, nothing, right? It would be a great day for that game from Denzel Ward. And again, we really need to see this defense play well as a unit before you get into some of these tougher games. And this is a game where, hey, EPA-wise, points-wise, this is a top 5 offense in the NFL. You got to treat it like such.
Yeah, and again, if you play like you're capable of playing, it's a game you should win. But if you think you're going to walk in and win, that doesn't happen in the NFL. Quincy, Carrier, and I are going to step aside, take one more timeout. Other side of the break, we'll look forward at this matchup with the Falcons. Sports4CLE, I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details. Browns getting ready for the Falcons coming up
Sunday at 1 o'clock in Atlanta. Amari Cooper, Browns wide receiver, very familiar with Falcons running back Cordell Patterson. Played together with him a few years ago with the Falcons. With the Raiders rather. Here's what he knows about Patterson.
That's one of his best traits, him having the ball in his hands. Like when he was at receiver, it was always, try to get him screens and stuff like that, try to get the ball in his hands as quickly as possible so he could do something after the catch. And that's how he's always been since, I've been watching him since junior college because one of my teammates at Bama, he used to play against him when they were both in junior college. I think Cordell was like the #1 receiver and my teammate was like the #1 corner in JUCO. So he put me on the Cordell when I was a young player. And I've been watching him ever since, and that's one thing that's stuck with him. Like when he gets the ball in his hands, he's gonna make plays. So, I mean, obviously, when you're at running back, you ain't getting the ball no quicker than that. You know what I mean? So, he's an exciting player to watch for sure.
And Quincy, the other thing about him is still a really good return guy as well. So Browns are gonna have to be aware of that.
Yeah, he's had an interesting career, hasn't he? Like, he's been around forever. He's a 10-year vet. You don't think about him like that. He was drafted, 2012, 2013 as a wide receiver in the first round. And he is a full-on running back now. Like, he takes running backs around at 30, 31. Like, imagine, like, that deciding at that point. That's when you're going to play the most physical position that football has to offer at running back at 30. And he's been doing such a good job at it. I mean, he's over 5 yards per carry. He's been their best running back. And he's a load there, man. He's really good. He pops off tape when you watch them play the last 3 weeks. I expect him to be very good this week. It's weird seeing somebody wear 84 and take carries, but he does it, and he does it well.
All right, what are some of the keys? When you look at the Browns matching up with the Falcons, what do the Browns need to do to make sure they get to 3-1 where they want to be?
Marcus Mariota will give you opportunities to get the ball, right? That's just something that's been constant through 3 games throughout his entire career. That's part of Marcus Mariota experience. He will give you an opportunity to get the turnovers. You need to get those turnovers, right? The Browns have done a bad job the last 3 weeks of when a fumble happens, when an almost interception happens, of just getting the turnover, right? The ball bounces the wrong way. We don't get on top of it. Whatever happens. Browns don't have good fumble luck. They need to have that fumble luck this week, right? The ball's going to be on the ground. There will be opportunities to get interceptions. There will be opportunities to get +2 in turnovers this game. You need to take it. If you're able to get +2 in turnovers and the offense plays like they have the last few weeks, you will win this game. If you can't get +2 in turnovers, then you know what time it is. We're going to be tight, right? It's going to be lemon booty time. So, you got to get the turnovers, right? If you're not going to have Miles, if you're not going to have Jadeveon, you got to get the turnovers when they're there, right? That's the best defense you're going to have is not a scheme. It's not blitzing. It's getting off the field. And getting off the field means getting those turnovers, right? And I think that's the most likely scenario. If you take advantage of those turnovers, squeeze out that clock, you're going to be in good position. So that's what you need to do.
What are your thoughts about the offense? Is it more of the same? Do the Falcons finally find a way to slow down the Browns' running attack and not let them double up the possession time?
I don't anticipate it, and I know Pittsburgh didn't have TJ Watt, but Mike Tomlin, for whatever reason, just knows what to do to slow the Browns' rushing attack down, right? If you ever look at the Browns, like, yards per carry during the season, it's like 5, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, and then, like, Pittsburgh game is like 3.4. We were able to get 5 on Pittsburgh, so I feel like there's not much Atlanta's going to be able to do to be able to stop the run game. I think this is going to be more of a situation on offense. You just got to play your game. Don't get outside of it. Do what you've always done. Do what you do well. They're probably going to give you an 8-man box. It's going to lighten out the outside. Take advantage of those opportunities when you can take them. Be accurate. Be consistent. Be on time. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't get behind the sticks. Just literally do what you've been doing the last 3 weeks. You should be fine offensively.
How concerned are you about special teams? Again, Patterson will return some kicks. I liked what I saw. Much better in the punt return game from Chester Rogers. He looked like he was very comfortable and confident catching punts.
Yeah, where I worry about special teams is more in that punt coverage, kick return coverage situation, right? I would hope that this is the week Mike Prefer decides, hey, maybe we just don't need to let Kadero Patterson have a chance at returning it, so we can have a hope at pinning him at the 15, right? Just kick it out of bounds. Cade York's more than capable of just kicking that thing through the back of the end zone, so we don't have to worry about that. Punt return wise, just be competent. It's very, very hard these days to give up big punt returns. You just have to be competent. I would hope they can be competent, but I'll reserve my words for the end of the season on what I feel like some of these special teams units have been sometimes.
All right, we'll knock on wood with being competent. Quincy Carrier, as always, man, thanks for the time and the insight. Appreciate it very much, Quincy.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
All right, Quincy Carrier, go ahead, search YouTube, has his own show. It's good stuff. Find him, follow him, and watch him. We're going to step aside, take a quick time out. Brad Ward from the All Eyez on Cleveland podcast, as well as Browns Wire. Straight ahead, we're still talking Browns. Stay with us.
Come back to go forward. Back to learning new things. Back to pursuing your dreams. Tri-C has flexible learning options to fit your life. And every year, more than 1,000 local companies provide Tri-C students with real-world learning. The right education can boost your lifetime earning power by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now with a college education you can afford. Tri-C, where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will be responsible for raising a beautiful family.
And educating not only my generation, but many more to come.
I will make a difference in my community.
And I will stand up for what I believe in.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams. I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
A home.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
FCCLA has been one of the greatest experiences of my life.
It's made me who I am today.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
We continue talking Browns here on Sports4CLE. We want your predictions for the Browns-Falcons game. Call the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let us know what you think the score will be, some key stats and keys to the game. Leave them on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. We will play back some of them tomorrow during Sports4CLE. All right, 3 areas the Browns need to improve before Week 4. This is from Dog Pound Daily. Number 3, communication was better against the Steelers. Still, it delineates their player-to-player communication when audibling important. Number 2, the return game. And again, that will be critical again this game and moving forward. Number 1, leadership. Let's welcome in Brad Ward from BrownsWire.com, host of the All Eyez on Cleveland podcast. Brad, I want to get to that leadership. If you don't have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney's out there, who do you look to for leadership from that defense?
Yeah, I think it has to be John Johnson. You know, the other one that's been really crucial here is Walker, right? Like, Anthony Walker has been probably playing the best football maybe of his career here the first few weeks. He's graded out of this world on PFF and been excellent. So, you know, they changed the way they huddled last week, and that helped with the communication. They kind of got back to basics, like let's change the way we huddle, make sure we get everybody in here, take more time with the communication. And that's part, like the leadership and the communication go hand in hand as far as I'm concerned. Like somebody out there has to take charge and make sure everybody's on the same page at all times, right? So it's going to be John Johnson now, right? I think he'll be the green dot, I think, without Walker. And it's going to be up to him. I mean, he's your veteran. You went out and spent a lot of money on him to come in here and be a good safety for you, but also be a veteran presence who's played a lot of downs against really good players. And you expect him to step up and take that role now. I would think that's the guy.
Yeah, I would agree with the leadership. I think they're going to give Jacob Phillips, I think is what they said, the green dot, which I get it, the middle linebacker. Okay. They probably, I mean, he probably needs to step up as well. It's a guy that's third year, hadn't been on the field a lot.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Jacob Phillips this week in the Steelers game, and there were times that he does a really good job in the fourth quarter. He did well, right? He broke up that pass. He's so athletic and fast, and his upside is fantastic. He just really needs to. There are times in the game, Dave, where he gets kind of boxed out from the run game. And I was talking about this the other night. That, like, you see JOK, who uses his real, quick athletic ability to avoid blockers in pursuit. You see guys like Taki and other linebackers like that who will engage and use their hands to get off blocks. And Phillips doesn't do like either one really well. Sometimes he just gets caught in the traffic. So I worry about that with him in the run game. Like, he's better running down a guy on the other side of the field or taking an angle to make a tackle. But sometimes in that Steelers game, he kind of got boxed out from the play a little bit, just got caught in the muck. And you worry about that a little bit from a Mike linebacker. So I hope to see that improve. That's a little bit of a concern, but he certainly has the ability, and you hope that he takes spotlight's on him now.
Yeah.
You spent some draft capital on him, and you expect him to step up big time.
Yeah, and I saw similar things to what you mentioned as well with Jacob Phillips. All right, this is from the 33rd team, and it's a bunch of former NFL front office executives' quarterback power rankings. Number 1 is Josh Allen. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. Number 3 is Lamar Jackson. Jacoby Brissett checks in at 16, one spot behind Derek Carr and one spot ahead of Russell Wilson. So if you're getting middle of the NFL quarterback play from Jacoby Brissett, you should be doing pretty well.
You should be. And the weird thing here is, like, he's actually graded out better than that so far. I mean, he's like top 10 in a lot of metrics so far this year. He had the single highest single game PFF grade for an offensive player against the Steelers, 92.5. I mean, he's playing like almost completely mistake-free football against the Steelers there, and 2 weeks in a row he's looked excellent. So you wonder about these power rankings, like what goes into them a little bit. Him there, right, with Russell Wilson, who's looked putrid so far, right? So I'm assuming this probably has a lot to do with their initial rankings and where they had him ranked before the season and them moving. I'm sure Brissett has moved up the board quite a bit from where they had him to start the season, and Russell Wilson has moved back. But if you see those two next to each other and you put their body of work up against each other so far this year, it shouldn't even be close.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett there isn't much you can say negative. I mean, the Patriots game maybe a little bit, but they won that. Or the Panthers game, rather, the opener. But, yeah, there's not much negative you can say about Jacoby Brissett. Amari Cooper talked about Jacoby Brissett earlier today.
Man, I think he's a good leader. He takes command of the offense. He prepares well. He communicates extremely well throughout the course of the week. Just wanting clear understanding of, how I look at some things, and he gives me clear understanding of how he looks at some things in regards to the routes that we have in and stuff like that. So, he really goes about his business the right way in terms of preparation.
Do you kind of not laugh, but do you raise your eyebrows a little bit when people just consider him to be a game manager, and do you feel like he's a lot more than that?
Nah, because I haven't really heard anybody call him that. Obviously, when you play well, your confidence does grow, but I can't say that I get a sense that he didn't know he'd be playing good football. You know what I mean? Like, he's always been a confident player, has had a confident approach. So, I can't really say I've seen a change in his confidence, but because he's always been confident.
Brad, the thing that really stuck out to me about that is just the communication in the week. getting on the same page when you're looking at routes, and that's part of the game planning, and that's why you're seeing the chemistry between Amari Cooper and Jacoby Brissett in game.
Yeah, Amari cracks me up in those interviews. He is like the coolest cat there is, right, man? He just does not care about anything they're saying. He's like, oh, I haven't heard that about a game manager. And, oh, he's so confident. Yeah, he's been confident from the beginning. I would like to think that after watching Brissett, certainly this has a lot to do with confidence, right? Stefanski has put him in the right spots and given him an opportunity, probably with the best surrounding cast he's ever had, to build confidence. And you're seeing him play better because of that. And it's fantastic that Amari has that confidence, as you mentioned, communication. Like you even saw it on like the 3rd and 1 where they take the shot play on the 3rd and 1 to Cooper. But he's going to get open on that play. But clearly they had repped that and had good communication there, because he throws that pass perfectly as he peels off that route to the outside. And stuff like that is all communication, right? It's like, how am I going to run this route? Leverage is on the inside. Here's where I'm going to be. And they've obviously talked through that. They're two veterans, and it's fantastic. The connection they've had so far has exceeded expectations as far as I'm concerned.
I would agree. The other thing that really stood out, anytime that Kevin Stefanski was asked about adding a veteran quarterback, his response was, we really like Jacoby Brissett. He's being honest, and I think they saw something in Jacoby Brissett and the way he would fit into this offense.
He certainly did, and Dave, I feel a little foolish. If we go back, you can check my receipts. I was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and all kinds of stuff back then. After watching Jimmy on Sunday night, it was a real good reminder of why they tried to move on from him in San Francisco. And Brissett has far exceeded expectations. He's playing probably the best football of his life. I mean, every time he drops in the pocket, he hits that back foot. It's coming out in rhythm. You saw him look off a safety and a linebacker and throw a dart to Njoku in the back of the end zone. I mean, he's throwing with great velocity, with great accuracy, and he's making really good decisions. So you can't really ask for much more. Stefanski has done an amazing job with him and this offense so far. It'll be tricky on Sunday, though, because – go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I was one of the ones that said, maybe they should look into Garoppolo. But, yeah, I see what they see in Jacoby Brissett right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just keep it going, right? Just keep it going for a couple more weeks here, and that would be perfect for the Browns if we just keep it at this level, don't make turnovers, and keep playing good ball, and he should be fine.
Brad Ward and I are going to take one more time out. Other side of the break, we'll look more at the Falcons and what the Browns are going to try to do. Sports for CLE. I'll be right back. Stay with us. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame celebrates the star athletes and notable sports figures who were born or have made their home in Greater Cleveland. It tells the story of discipline, commitment, perseverance, sportsmanship, and excellence in achievement. It encourages and inspires those who believe in sport and its direct impact on the well-being of our community. Go to clevelandsportshall.com or follow us on Twitter at GCLE Sports HOF for more details.
We continue talking Browns with Brad Ward from BrownsWire.com, also the host of the All Eyez on Cleveland podcast. Joel Bitonio talked about some of the subtleties about why the Browns are able to run the ball so effectively.
We're just very multiple. I think we start with, the wide zone, but we're not afraid to mix in a lot of gap scheme, a lot of misdirection, a lot of outside runs. So really, we can try and take advantage of what the defense does. Because a lot of times defense, they stop the outside zone. Okay, we can go to a gap or a pin and pull scheme, things like that nature. And I think Coach Stefanski, and Coach Callahan do a great job of putting together a game plan each week, and Coach Mitch, to really highlight the strengths of our offense and the weakness of the defense. But it's a week-to-week thing. We have our core plays in every week, but we always do have a little bit of flair each week we go out there.
And Brad, the running game has been outstanding and will continue to need to be so.
Yeah, what strikes me in that clip is Bitonio just sounds so confident in what they're going to do. And they have, it started with the wide zone, right? But they just put together and built such a talented offensive line that they can run basically any scheme they want. They can do the pin pull, the gap scheme he's talking about there. And they're so multiple that no matter what a defense presents them as far as a front, as far as their approach in stopping the run game, they have an answer for it because of how talented the line is and because of how multiple they can be. So you just hear him talking about it, and you can tell he's confident that regardless of what they put up there, they feel like they have an answer for it. And that's incredibly should feel really good for Browns fans, especially when you see him talking like that. But Tony is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Arthur Smith, Falcons head coach, talking about what he has seen and what he knows about Jacoby Brissett.
Strong arm, very smart player. It's hard to bring down. I mean, the first guys, it's kind of like the theme of their team. If we don't wrap up and tackle well, he can extend plays, even when you get to him. Very strong in the pocket. Got a lot of experience. He played in a lot of big games.
And again, you tend to forget Jacoby Brissett has been with the Patriots. He's been with the Colts. He has seen a lot.
Yeah, he's played in a lot of big games, and I like how Arthur Smith. I like Arthur Smith. He's very, I think, a smart offensive coordinator and done a good job, obviously, with Tennessee and now with Atlanta with their offense. But he talks about the theme of the team there. If you don't wrap up, they're going to hurt you. And that's pretty accurate, actually, as you talk about the run game and guys like Cooper and Njoku with all that yards after catch on Sunday. Brissett has seen all these games. He's seen all these defenses before, and now he's getting an opportunity to approach them with an offense that he believes in, feels confident in, and he's throwing the ball really well. So once again, he just is building on the surroundings that he has finally, and Stefanski's putting him in a really good place to play great football.
All right, before I let you go, how do you see this one playing out? Falcons, Browns, 1 o'clock Sunday. Some keys, and what do you think happens?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. They can play another really good offensive football game in this one and still lose, right? Because Atlanta's offense is different. They're fun. Cordell Patterson, they've got some good big wide receivers. Mariota can hurt you on the ground and with the arm. He will make some turnover-worthy plays. So really the defense needs to be opportunistic here. They need to stay on the right side of that turnover ledger and continue to be penalty-free, stay ahead of the chains with Brissett, things like that. Don't shoot yourself in the foot in this one, play a good offensive game, and be opportunistic on defense, and I think they can win. This is one, though, where playing keep away with that run game, and they've done that successfully this year, could be really important. So keep their offense off the field, long drives with the run game, control time of possession, and try to get out of there with a win.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The defense and the guys missing from the defense concern me. I think if they can win the turnover battle, I think that goes a long way here. And as you mentioned, there will be opportunities. Can the defense make the plays to get the turnovers?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just they've been playing well. They have all the talent in the world. It's just shoring up the little mistakes on the back end. And this defense should still be a top 5 defense. They may be missing some pieces this week, but it's next man up. It's the NFL. be opportunistic. Jump on those fumbles that keep eluding them so far, because Mariota will cough it up a few times.
Brad Ward from BrownsWire.com, as well as the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast. As always, great stuff. Appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks very much, Brad.
Thank you, Dave. It's always a blast, man.
All right, Brad Ward, make sure you check him out. All Eyes on Cleveland podcast, BrownsWire.com. Want to remind you, leave your predictions for Browns Falcons voicemail of truth and reason. We will play them tomorrow on Sports4CLE. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow at 4 on Sports4CLE.